Um, yes, as it's Armistice Week, I'm going to read a poem called "The Pen from the Wagon-Lit." As you probably know, the armistice was signed in a railway carriage in the middle of a wood, um, and that during the Second World War, Hitler insisted that the French surrender should be signed in the same railway carriage as an act of ironic revenge, I suppose. And also, a French officer rescued a pen from the Wagon-Lit before it was taken to Berlin and burnt. Um, so this is the pen from the Wagon-Lit. In the wood at Compiègne, the carriage sped through the century. The years compressed as history accelerated. It seemed the ink had hardly dried when another crew boarded and changed the schedules to fascist time. Two capitulations, one cancelling the other, a day of shame for a day of glory, signatures as spoils of war. Spectral passengers, sepia statesmen who drowned through alarms, shriveled in fire at the end of the line. What remains is a pen, its barrel lightly tiger-striped, nib bayonet sharp, a relic from the journey's start. Later than the 11th hour, not yet the 12th, it waits to write a lasting armistice. And continuing to the Second World War now, my father was a fire watcher during the war. And as you, T.S. Eliot, of course, was also a fire watcher. I don't think they ever met. I don't think my dad ever read The Waste Land. But this is more about Eliot than my father. It's called Fire Watchers, 1940 to 41. And it mentions many of the streets that are mentioned in The Waste Land. On the roof of Faber and Faber, Thomas Stearns Eliot stood, a witness of fulfilled prophecy. Streets and churches pinpointed under the eye of the poet, under the eye of the Luftwaffe pilot. In Lower Thames Street, only the tower of Magnus Martyr survived. Whole facades belly flopped in Queen Victoria Street. Heard at Greenwich and the Isle of Dogs, bomb blasts hollowed King William Street. His poem had mapped the unreal city. Now, fire traversed real London night by night. Somewhere my father too kept watch, alongside 1,000 others. The same fine white ash dusted Eliot as dusted all their coats. They finished their shifts as dawn lit the river. Shanty, shanty, shanty. And I'll just read one quickly about fireworks. And it's called Calming the Cat at Midnight After Fireworks. And the cat in question is actually sleeping over there, but he's a lot older now than when I wrote this poem. He was very young and very frightened. Tramping in pajamas up and down the road, I find and enfold him. After the terror hours, lamp-eyed, bristle-backed, he spent them in the root cage of a bush, in existential fear. Now he emerges, aching from confinement, but does not trust the quiet truce of midnight yet. To ears attuned to the smallest sound, bird rustle, the scamper-paws scamper of a mouse, tonight's noises from the sky must have seemed the anger of the gods. Even in my arms he quakes, like a child refugee from a war zone, whose bones shake with the aftershocks of guns and bombings. This poem might have ended grandly, the thunderbolts of fate that make us cower, but inappropriate to finish with a bang. Instead, a man and a cat in moonlight on a roadway, their shadows magnified, a leaf falling into the silence, and barely audible, the first tremblings of a purr.